Can we say it? I think we can say it now, right? Texas is back. The Longhorns get a huge win over Oklahoma and move up the polls to the top 10. Also, Texas volleyball gets some huge wins over conference foes. All that and more coming up on College Press Box.
Welcome to College Press Box, the most extensive sports coverage on the 40 acres. I'm your host, Brooke Nevins, alongside Robert Trevino. It was a huge weekend for Texas football.
That's right, Brooke. All eyes were on Dallas at the Cotton Bowl for the 113th edition of the Red River Showdown. Both teams came in ranked for the first time since 2012. Let's take a look at the highlights. It's the big one, the Red River Showdown. Both teams ranked, UT at number 19, OU at number 7 with Big 12 title ramifications and bragging rights on the line. First drive of the game, QB Kyler Murray is going to find Marquise Hollywood Brown on the screen option for a 4-yard touchdown. Murray, the Heisman candidate, came into the game accounting for 21 TDs. Later, game knotted at 10, Sam Ehlinger is going to find his running back Trey Watson on the wheel route for a 28-yard score to go up by 7. Ehlinger, later, going to use the big O-line push to scamper in for a 9-yard touchdown, one of 3 rushing TDs he'd score today. Late in the third, Ehlinger, he's going to step back. He's going to find Lil Jordan Humphrey for a 15-yard score to go up 45-24 with just a quarter to play. But Murray and the Sooners would not go away. Lee Morris snags one courtesy of his QB and cuts the lead to 14, and with just over 2 minutes left, OU down just 7 now. Trey Sermon knots it up at 45 and completes the unbelievable comeback from 21, but they left too much time for ice in his veins. Cameron Dicker, the kicker, 40 yards, never a doubt, straight through the uprights. 48-45, Longhorns get the big win and move up to number 9 in the AP poll.
To capture the emotional victory over OU, here's Eric Goodman from the Cotton Bowl.
A Red River matchup with instant classic potential did not disappoint on Saturday. Texas needed a field goal in the final seconds from freshman kicker Cameron Dicker to close out an emotional 48-45 win over the Oklahoma Sooners.
I was ready to go. I was like, okay, if they tie it back, I think I'm going to get the game-winning kick. And so I kind of was confident, like, hey, I'm going to kick a game winner today.
Tom Herman and the Texas players weren't going to deviate from their 1-0 mantra today, but they also know that this emotional win represents a massive leap forward for a program looking to return among the elite.
Yes, we are a 1-0 mentality group, and when we wake up tomorrow, winning this game is going to have no effect on our performance against Baylor next week. But I do think it's important that we continue to take these steps.
This game specifically was written a long time ago on who's going to win. And today, Texas Longhorns won, Sam Ehlinger beat Kyler Murray, and I got to sanctify the number 60 for my father in the Cotton Bowl, who never beat Oklahoma.
With a 5th straight win, an undefeated Big 12 record, and now a top 10 ranking, even the most skeptical Texas fans are starting to buy into the hype.
It's irrelevant to us, I think. We're not so concerned about where people think Texas is. We've taken some really big steps here the last few weeks. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to downplay that for these players. They have taken some very important steps in this program's development and its progress, but we're going to worry about the opinions of the people in that locker room first and foremost.
The only thing that's back is we're going back to work to beat Baylor. Coco.
Texas will play for its 6th straight win Saturday afternoon against the Bears in Austin. From the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, I'm Eric Goodman, TSTV Sports.
With me in the studio now are football analysts Thomas Fitch and Zach Leff. Thanks for joining us again, guys. This weekend is definitely fueling the Texas's backfire. Is this victory over the Sooners a program-defining win?
Yeah, I would say without a doubt, yes. I don't mean just because of the one win against OU. You look back to 2015, Texas beats OU, goes on to a 5-7 season. But this is big because it proves that the prior wins aren't just flukes. Winning 5 games in a row shows consistency on this team, shows that this team can pull out close games, something they've struggled with over the past few years. So definitely a very encouraging sign for this team.
100%, Brooke. This is a definite defying win for the Longhorns. Tom Herman, when he came here, promised wins, promised success, and he gave it in the biggest regular season game you could win in the Red River Showdown against OU. This is the type of win that Texas gets, proves that Texas is back to being a top contender in the Big 12.
But also, with this win, they also proved that they're a national powerhouse now. They were ranked last week. People were a little skeptical, but now they're number 9 in the country. This also is big because West Virginia's right there, meaning that the Longhorns are pushing up to be the top team in the Big 12. And the Texas Longhorn fans are starting to believe and forget about the past disappointments.
Great. Both teams came into Saturday's game with hot quarterbacks, but Sam Ehlinger managed to outplay OU's Heisman candidate, Kyler Murray. Zach, what allowed Ehlinger to be so effective?
Sam was incredible this weekend. I mean, in the biggest game of his career, he played the best game of his career. Sam had 5 total touchdowns, 2 in the air and 3 on the ground. He had over 400 total yards. Since the Maryland game, also this has been the biggest key and most important thing, 0 turnovers. He has no interceptions since then. His IQ is super high, and with Sam as a leader, he's got great weapons now. He's got Lil Jordan Humphrey, Keontae Ingram, and Colin Johnson, who have really provided him help. His true leadership has really shown, and his growth has shown in year 2 as the Texas quarterback.
And Thomas, how is Texas able to contain Kyler Murray for most of the game?
Well, they did it in 3 ways. The first, they really shut down the run game. Murray, having his success in the past, depended a lot on the running game having success, especially with the option run that they run a lot. So shutting down the run game really hurt him being able to be mobile. Secondarily, they were able to shut down the receivers really well. The secondary did a good job. There's a lot of times Murray standing in the pocket 3, 4, 5 seconds. That happens because the secondary is keeping the wide receivers from getting open. That allows the front 7 to get pressure. Speaking of getting pressure, great job by Todd Orlando to really get creative with the pressure, with the blitzes. Herman said last week in his press conference, you can't just blitz every single time because when you play against a guy like Murray, he's going to get outside, he's going to run around you. And he did that on one of his big touchdown runs. But overall, the front 7 did a really good job getting to Murray, pressuring him into forcing 2 key turnovers and a lot of incompletions as well.
Texas has already beaten 2 of the top teams in the conference. Is Texas now a Big 12 favorite?
Yeah, I'd have to say so, at least as far as making the Big 12 championship game is considered. I'd say right now there are 3 contenders to win the conference, that being Texas, West Virginia, and OU. Texas, obviously, already beating OU and also beating TCU, another tough team in the conference. As far as West Virginia, they look pretty beatable. They struggled to put away Texas Tech. They didn't play well against Kansas State at home, only winning 38-22. That's not very convincing. Will Greer had 4 turnovers in that game. So West Virginia definitely a beatable team. And the way the Big 12 is shaping out this year, it's possible for Texas to lose a game or 2 and still be in the Big 12 conference championship game.
Great. Well, Zach and Thomas, it's always great having y'all on the show. When we come back, we're heading over to Gregory Gym to check out Texas volleyball. Don't go away. Welcome back to College Press Box. Texas football's win over OU wasn't the only Longhorn victory last week. On Wednesday, 4th-ranked volleyball narrowly defeated TCU in 5 sets, and on Saturday, swept Iowa State at home to improve to 10-3 in the season and 5-0 in conference play.
After the football win against OU, UT was more than hyped going into the volleyball game against the Iowa State Cyclones. Heading into the game with a 4-ranked 9-3 record, the Lady Longhorns' mission was to take care of business against the struggling Cyclones. After a dominant first set where they won 25-21, the Longhorns started to struggle a bit in the second set, only to come back and win the set in comeback fashion 25-22. The Longhorns finished off the game with a 25-21 third set victory to sweep the Cyclones in a relatively easy game. Freshman Logan Eggleston posted her best game of her short career, as she posted her first ever double-double with 12 kills and 10 digs. Junior Micaiah White had another strong game, finishing with 9 kills and 12 digs. Sophomore Ashley Shook had 34 assists, 3 digs, and 3 kills. This is what she had to say post-game.
Yeah, so this game I think we really played well as a team, and we worked a lot on our communication and just bettering each touch, and I think we did that really well this game.
After a rough start to the second set, sophomore Ashley Shook stated on how they overcame their struggles and ended up defeating the Cyclones in the end.
I think we just went back to playing Texas volleyball. We were getting a little reachy on our block, and we weren't digging balls that we need to be digging, and I think we all just kind of took like a breather, and then we were like, okay, let's just play Texas volleyball.
We asked Ashley if the OU game had any effect on the team's performance.
I don't think the football team affected us that much. I mean, we were watching it before our serve and pass, and we're so happy they won, but then, we're 2 different sports, and I think that we came out here and knew that we had to play Texas volleyball and support the school and just be Texas.
Their next game takes them to Kansas, where they'll play the 11 4 Kansas Jayhawks on Wednesday. Their next home game is against Texas Tech October 20th. From Gregory Gym, this has been Marcus Risen with TSTV Sports.
So Daniel, volleyball had those big wins this week against TCU and Iowa State. What are the big takeaways that we can come away with from this big week?
Well, I have two big takeaways. Number one, the Longhorn defense are getting much better, especially after that Stanford loss. The defense was really the most worried part about this team for me. But the Baylor game a couple of weeks ago was a big turnaround for this Texas defense, and they outblocked TCU last Wednesday 11-6. And that shows that Texas defense coming back with a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum. And it's not quite as good as the defense was last year, but it's good enough to a point where you don't need to rely on the offense throughout the entire game to carry yourself to the victory, and that is important in terms of Texas defense. But second of all, the freshman class on this team is doing an exceptional job. Breon Butler and Logan Eggleston is doing a great job filling up Lexi Sun's void, especially after she left Texas to go to Nebraska. Eggleston had led Texas with 12 kills against Iowa State, and she had more kills than Micaiah White, which is the star on this team. Butler and Eggleston are the two out of the three most successful outside hitters on this team. And if you have two freshmen who are that good at hitting, I think it shows that this Texas team has a great future ahead of us.
Absolutely. So the Longhorns defense is improving. There are fresh faces stepping in right where Lexi Sun left off. But what are some things that Texas needs to improve on going forward?
A big thing is on their serving. They gave up 29 serving errors so far this season. That basically means they gave up 29 free points. And you probably can get away with that in the Big 12, but in the future, when you go into the NCAA tournament and you face a Stanford again, or Wisconsin, or even Nebraska, you can't just give away free points like that. They killed every momentum they were gonna come back in the Stanford game because of the serving errors. And again, yeah, probably in the Big 12 you can get away with it, but that TCU game last Wednesday, even though they won, I don't think that was acceptable. They needed a 50-50 call overturn in the fifth set to avoid an upset against a TCU team who's ranked 6th in the Big 12 in preseason. I don't think that will be good enough, and in the future they can't rely on other teams in other conferences because the Big 12 is so weak. The second best team in the Big 12 is Baylor, and they're ranked 24th in the country. Texas swept them at home. Texas needs to go out there, sweep every other Big 12 team like they did to Baylor, dominate every single Big 12 game in order to be in a top four team in the country, which then you can host a super regional, and that is crucial for Texas going to the Final Four. So they not only have to be undefeated in the Big 12, they have to dominate every single Big 12 game in order. I think that will be key to going into the Final Four later this season.
Yeah, that's great analysis. Thanks, Daniel. We always love having you on the show. Remember, if you want to see the Longhorns live in action, make sure to grab yourself the big ticket. You can find that at TexasSports.com. When we come back, Cameron Parker is going to bring us this week's edition of Unhooked. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. I'm Cameron Parker, your host for Unhooked. And believe it or not, there were other football games going on this weekend besides Texas-Oklahoma. Let's take a look at the highlights. Number 5, LSU traveling to the Swampland against Florida. Felipe Franks is going to find Josh Hammond here on this beautiful over-the-shoulder catch. Very next play, Hammond's going to find Morrill Stevens. He's going to put Florida Gators up just before halftime, 14-10. Fourth quarter now, LSU down by 1. Nick Brissett's going to go up the middle here, find a huge hole, break some tackles, 47-yard scamper before finally being pushed out of bounds at the 3-yard line. The next play, Brissett would punch it in himself. LSU would go for 2 here, but not get it. So only up by 5. Next possession, Florida is driving here on the Franks, the Kroll. It's the Philly special. It's the Florida special. Gator special. We can look on the name a little bit later. Florida here. LaMichael P. Ryan's going to score on the next play. Put the Gators back on top. They would also go for 2, not get the 2-point conversion, so they're only up by 1 point here. LSU now trying to mount a comeback. but Joe Burrow is going to be intercepted by Brad Stewart Jr. That's going to ice it, folks. Florida is going to upset LSU at home. One of the biggest surprises this season has been Kentucky, who traveled to Kyle Field Saturday to take on the Aggies. Let's go to College Station. 13th ranked Kentucky, no, that isn't men's basketball you're looking at. Mark Stoops has the Wildcats off to a phenomenal start this year, and it keeps going here in the first quarter. Lynn Bowden Jr. for 54 yards on the end around. Be the first score of the game for either team. It was a very low-scoring game. Wildcats up 7-0 here. Fourth quarter, both teams tied at 7. Kellen Mond is looking for Cameron Barkley. It's going to go through his hands, but into the hands of Jay Sternberger. He's going to score here, put the Aggies on top for the first time all game in the fourth quarter, 14-7. Kellen Mond now trying to run the clock out. He's going to mishandle the snap. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to lose the ball. And Darius West is going to recover it for the scoop and score touchdown. Kentucky's going to tie the game at 14 apiece. We're going to go to overtime. Kentucky will get the ball to start OT as Miles Butler, he has a field goal to put the Wildcats up by 3. It's down the middle. It's looking, oh, hits the crossbar. Are you kidding me? No good. A&M would just need any points to win the game. And Trayvon Williams is going to leave little doubt here on this touchdown run as he's going to find the end zone, flips into the end zone as A&M with another SEC upset against Kentucky. It was a battle of which NFL coach would get fired first last night as the Dallas Cowboys faced off against the Houston Texans in NRG Stadium. First quarter, Texans having trouble scoring from the 1-yard line this game for some reason. Kiki Kuti is going to find the end zone, put the Texans on top. You might remember him from his Texas Tech days. Cowboys now down by 4 points. Dak Prescott, he's going to fake out everybody in the Texans defense, finding Allen Hurns in the back of the end zone. Puts the Cowboys up momentarily. A lot of field goals this game. Now fourth quarter, down by 3. They need something. Dak Prescott somehow is going to fade. J.J. Watt stays on his feet, fades another sack. He's just going to chuck it downfield, and Tavon Austin's going to make the diving grab. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Brett Mayer for the 48-yard field goal. This game's going to overtime too. Cowboys get the ball to start OT, a questionable punt on 4th and 1 to get the Texans the ball back. Deshaun Watson just needs some points. He's going to find DeAndre Hopkins here. He's going to press the B button on his Mag controller not once, but twice. And he's going to give the Texans excellent field goal range. As Fairbairn here, he's going to kick 36-yard field goal to win the game. Texans are going to get back-to-back wins, 2 and 3. Cowboys fall back below 500 for the second time this year. That will do it for Unhooked. Stay tuned after the break as Robert and Brooke will take a look at the week in Texas women's soccer.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Robert, it was a big week for Angela Kelly and the Texas women's soccer team.
The 13th ranked women's soccer team went on the road this week, splitting their matches with a 2-1 win against Iowa State, but falling to 16th ranked West Virginia in Morgantown 2-1. They'll be back in action this Friday at Mike A. Myers Stadium against Oklahoma.
Texas men's tennis competed in the ITA All-American Championships in Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend, where junior Christian Sigsgaard and senior Rodrigo Banzer both competed in the consolation bracket. Sigsgaard went on to defeat opponents from Ohio State and North Carolina to take home the singles consolation bracket championship.
In women's tennis, the doubles pair of Fernanda Labrana and Katie Paluda took home the doubles title at the HEB Invitational in Waco, going 4-0 over the 3-day tournament. Women's tennis will be on the road from the 14th through the 17th at the 25K Florence in Florence, South Carolina.
This week in Longhorn sports, volleyball takes on Kansas on Wednesday at Kansas, 8 p.m. on FSN. On Friday, soccer hosts Oklahoma at Mike A. Myers Stadium, and that will be on 7 p.m. on Longhorn Network. Volleyball also plays Oklahoma in Norman at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And on Saturday, football kicks off at 2:30 p.m. against Baylor at DKR on ESPN Radio Network.
College Game Day, ESPN's flagship college football pregame show, was live at the Cotton Bowl last Saturday. Let's check out what Lee, Kirk, and the rest of Game Day were up to.
Before Texas and Oklahoma kicked off, the College Game Day crew enlivened the atmosphere in Dallas, ushering in the signs, Lee Corso's beloved antics, and all the usual embellishments that come with the atmosphere.
Ferris wheel rides, free corny dogs, fried cookie. No, I'm really looking forward to just experiencing the whole pageantry of one of the rare rivalries left in college football, where the stadium is split down the middle, tickets are split.
I like any sign that picks on anybody, period, including me. Any sign you make fun of us, I'm in.
Desmond Howard is such a homer that he helped write the Iliad. Now, most people wouldn't get that. I thought it was brilliant. And I actually went up to the kid and took a picture with him.
Lee Corso's known for using rifles when he picks Oklahoma sometimes. How nervous are you when Corso picks up these props?
Very. I'm not sure how well trained he is in the proper safe use of firearms. He clearly does not know when the safety is engaged and when it's not. And he also, when he brings live animals onto the set, that can be a little disconcerting too.
But what set this game day apart was its presence in the middle of a state fair.
I'm a big fan of cookie dough. They tell me they fry cookie dough here. I'm going to try that. And clearly I'm going to have corny dogs at some point. So yeah, I'm going to do that.
I went out and played some games today. I was bumper cars. I was in bumper cars. Had a great time. Won a couple of fuzzy animals. Breaking plates. And I'm really lethal with the water gun.
You can pick one member of the game day crew to ride the Ferris wheel with. Who are you picking and why?
Easy, David Pollock, because he's afraid of heights. So I'm absolutely and rooting for us to get stuck at the top.
Not happening. Not worried about it. I'm not going on the Ferris wheel. Not a fan of heights.
From the College Game Day set in Dallas, I'm Steve Helwick, TSTV Sports.
And that's it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us on your Monday evening, and don't forget to tune in to College Crossfire on Wednesday at 9 for the best sports debate on the 40 acres. I'm Brooke Nevins.
And I'm Robert Trevino.
Good night.